biggest threat to the safety of the traveling public today are these bridges.
We've got more than 100,000 bridges that are old enough to qualify for Medicare.
Should we just keep pouring money into them? Or maybe should we think about building some new bridges?
Water keeps us alive. The subways will take us back and forth to work. But the bridges is the outward appearance of what connects us.
In the mid-1800s, travel in New York City was very, very difficult. There were these quiet little burgs that people never moved from in a whole lifetime. It would have stayed like that. It would never have been very interesting. It never could have been New York the way we know it now without these bridges. It changed the whole social perspective. It moved whole groups of people out of slums. It changed their economic life because they could work in one place and live in another. The truth is that nowhere only becomes a somewhere when the bridge opens and people run across the bridge.
Now behind me is the old Tappan Zee Bridge. It carries a lot more traffic than when it was built back in 1955. At times you can see the river through the cracks in the pavement. Now, I'm not an engineer, but I figure that's not good.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? In 2010, an average of 138,000 vehicles crossed the existing Tappan Zee Bridge every day, but it was only designed to handle up to 100,000 maximum. So it is well over what they call its design capacity.
Because I hear things, I don't like what I hear when I cross that bridge.
No, they're monitoring that very carefully, very carefully.
Every time I cross there, they go, please, don't let this be the last time.
The existing Tappan Zee Bridge has no emergency breakdown lanes, no shoulders, and double the average accident rate of the entire New York State Thruway system. And it has had about $750 million in repairs over the last decade or so, and it just got too expensive to maintain it, and the decision was made to replace the bridge. This is an enormous project, $3.9 billion. It is the largest single infrastructure contract in the history of New York State. This will have mass transit capability, emergency breakdown lanes, dedicated express bus lanes, even a bike and pedestrian pathway on it.
I think the Tappan Zee Bridge is going to be a sensation when it opens because a cable-stayed bridge is a very, very beautiful bridge. It's almost the bridge du jour of this century.
The Brooklyn Bridge serves the human soul of New York and the world. It is New York's icon.
If somebody asked me, would you tear down the Brooklyn Bridge, I would tell them they were crazy. It's New York, it's who we are. Think about the history of that bridge. It was built for trolleys and horses and buggies. And now we're putting 140,000 cars on it.
They identified that the approach spans had elements of it that had fracture-critical aspects.
The project that we've been asked to do is to reconstruct the ramps and approaches to both the Brooklyn and Manhattan side, replace 600 bridge bearings, and take the lead paint off. You can never really shut down the bridge for any length of time, which makes it difficult.
They've now spent several years upgrading so that the Brooklyn Bridge will be taken off the category that is both structurally deficient and fracture critical.
The decision to restore versus rebuild is easier if you can build a new bridge completely next to the old bridge like they're doing at the Tappan Zee. But it is part of our legacy. It just takes maintenance, it takes renovation, and it takes work. I mean, there's no other way around it. But it can stand forever.
New York City governmental administrations have represented some of the most enlightened recognition of the importance of infrastructure. What we have had is a declining number of dangerous bridges in the New York area, as opposed to most parts of the nation.
This is how powerful these bridges are. It is a monument to the human mind. And yet, we walk right by them, we drive by them, we ignore them, we abuse them, we take them for granted. But we don't really stop and look what they really mean to us.